self-care practices are daily little things that have an amazing impact in your overall well-being that you do to take care of your needs energetically, emotionally, physically, mentally, to help you find a balance.
Time to get inspired and improve your yoga knowledge in English. You're listening to Your Yoga in English, a podcast for yogis and yoga teachers that speak English as their second or third language and want to practice or teach yoga worldwide. I'm Annie, the founder of Enga Unite, and here to guide you on the way to become the confident and knowledgeable English-speaking yogi you want to be. And I'm interviewing Yely today. Do I pronounce your name right? Is it?
You pronounce the name right. If you're speaking Spanish, it's Yely, but if you're in English, it's Yely.
What do you prefer?
No, I don't care.
Okay. And Yely is also a yoga teacher. She's a former studio owner. And you might, if you like to read into yoga articles, you might have actually read something written by Yely because she writes for Yoga International. And in her teachings, she focuses on self-care practices on a daily basis for people with a busy lifestyle. So today we will be speaking about self-care for a positive mindset. So who better to ask? You know all about it. So I think there's quite a few people from your end watching as well. My name is Annie. I am a yoga teacher and an English teacher and the founder of Enga Unite. And I'm really, really interested in your journey, how you came up with the idea of focusing on this topic specifically. But before we start, I would like to ask you about your background, because for Enga Unite, I like to interview people that speak at least 2 languages. And I know that you're originally from Venezuela and also speak Spanish. How did you get into speaking English?
I moved to the United States to learn English as a second language. And then after that, I went into my master's degree, and I was able to, well, I was lucky to find a job back in the time related to the field I used to work. And then next thing to the next thing, and here I am now living in the United States almost after 20 years.
Mm-hmm. That's amazing. You're a yoga teacher, and the change that you made from, because you worked in law, right?
Correct.
Change that you made from law to yoga is a massive change, actually. How did that happen? How did you get into yoga?
You know, I discovered yoga living in the United States. It wasn't very popular back home in Venezuela, early 2000s, late 90s. So I came to the States and I discovered yoga here, and I was curious about what it was. I have no clue what yoga was about, but I did know that it might help you to calm your mind and kind of help you with anxiety. So I went into a beginner's class and I was immediately hooked. I really enjoyed the physical practice of how it really makes you feel calm and relaxed after class. I was lucky to have a really good first experience. Like many others are not so lucky, but that was my experience. So I decided to create a habit of practicing yoga once a week. Back in the time, I had a full-time job, and this was my getaway of like resetting time. I remember the class was on Wednesdays at 6:30 p.m. and I was always there. I was literally looking forward to that class during my week. And years passed by, and I started to wanting to practice more regularly. So from 1 time a week, I went to 2 times a week, and you know how it goes, starts growing in you because it's a process. We go into the body because it's the most, feel more in the senses, right? We feel the move, we touch, and so the body is the portal to get deeper into what really yoga is all about. And then years pass by, and yoga grows in you. It's like the tip of an iceberg. It starts to you start to feel good, and every decision you make, it's based on supporting your well-being. So what you choose to eat, what you choose to read, what you choose to hang out with, what you choose to put your attention in starts to change into a more harmonious, and you become more aware and conscious of things that are not necessarily elevating your vibration. And that went into my job. So I starting to feel a disharmony of what I was considering my values. The things that I truly believe and stand up for were not a direct reflection of what I was doing for a living. So it was a really conflicted time where I felt like I was trying to help but destroying with the things with the other hand, so to speak. And so I was, again, fortunate to have the means to make a decision to shift. So I decided to leave my law corporate job and dive into yoga teacher training and learn more about yoga and how I can help other people to feel good about yoga. It's the typical story that we always hear, but it's just so true.
And I'm not sure if it's that typical. I think many people have a similar story, but everyone has something really special. And what I like about what you do is that it's bilingual, because that obviously aligns with what we do as well. But I really love the focus on the self and the self-care practices. I think it's so important, and I think it's something that in a lot of yoga teacher trainings, it's not really a topic. It doesn't come up so much. So that's why I asked you, thinking you could learn more about it. So I think before we start speaking about what we can do, what is self-care?
You know, I think nowadays that word is getting a lot of buzz, especially after 2020. Everybody started talking about self-care, but this is a really good, and I'm glad you asked this, because I like to start from the beginning, right? I like to define what is self-care. And from my personal concept of what I define self-care is daily routines, daily habits that you do during the day to help you always check in with your needs, to help you find that inner balance. As we practice yoga, we learn that in yoga, everything is about moderation and balance. So we want the flexibility, but we want the strength, right? We want the heat, but we need to cool down. So we learn to observe our emotions. We learn to pay attention to the body signals. And that's where I kind of blend the self-care practices with mindfulness. So bottom line, self-care practices are daily little things that have an amazing impact in your overall well-being that you do to take care of your needs energetically, emotionally, physically, mentally, to help you find a balance. We usually, before 2020, we were in a society where we were rushing and living life 1,000 miles per hour without taking the moment to slow down. And to me, I fall in the trap, and we were going to crash one way or another, because I like the example of a car. You can have a car full tank gas and you can just drive all over the world, but at some point you need to stop and refill the tank. And as a humans, this is what self-care is. Instead of you waiting for the tank to be fully empty, you want to keep the tank halfway there to keep you going in a more sustainable way.
That's an amazing example. I really, really like that. I think it's something that we spoke about with the group last week as well, is that if your computer breaks down and it just starts shutting itself off and you can't really work with it, would you ignore it, or would you just keep going? Excuse me, would you find a technician and help you out, that will help you out? So like you said, it's a great example. It's something that we should do every day to keep the tank half full at the least.
So it depends on the kind of driver you are, because some people like to drive until the tank is empty, but I'm a cautious driver, so I'm always like halfway tank.
That's a really good one. So you said, especially last year, it was a thing, it was a big theme that we needed to work on this self-care. Why is it so challenging?
It is challenging because nobody taught us the importance or how to even do it. So we don't know where to start. And we think self-care is, oh, just take a bubble bath and drink a glass of wine and just watch a movie and you're fine. Or just sleep 12 hours this weekend and you'll be all right.
Mm-hmm.
And to be honest, those are like putting a band-aid on something more serious, something more important. I think self-care practices is a lifestyle. It is something that it needs to happen every day, and it changes because we as humans are complex and we have multiple layers of dimensions of complexity, energy wise, emotion wise, thought wise. What we see during the day, what we experienced yesterday is going to affect how we feel today, what we eat, what we read, what we hear, the people around us. I mean, there are so many things constantly affecting our being. And that's why daily self-care practices are adaptable, adjustable. So just having a glass of wine is not going to help all the time. And that's not necessarily maybe what you might need, because self-care practices, I like to divide it by layers. We have an emotional aspect to take care. We have a mental aspect. We have a physical aspect. We have an energetic aspect. We have a spiritual aspect. So we need to take care of each one of those layers to have an overall well-being. And so if you know, wants to feel healthier, we have to start talking about the lymphatic system and how we can implement daily self-care practices to activate the lymphatic, to boost the immune system, to have a better nervous system so you can feel less anxiety and you need to move the body. It's just very complex, but it's at the same time, once you understand what you need to do, it makes it easier. And let me tell you, everybody wants to feel good. Everybody dreams about feeling good, but nobody teaches us what exactly that is. And we believe that external things are going to give us that sense of feeling good. Shopping or drinking or doing drugs, we think those are ways that will help us to feel better. We go externally for that sense of self-care, but it's so much simple and easier and free than that. And I'm glad this is becoming more aware. We're raising awareness about it.
I agree. It's really important, and there's so much more to it than just, like you said, a glass of wine on a Saturday evening or reading a few pages in a book. It's a whole new world for a lot of people. So you said it's important to understand what you need. How do you recognize the things that you need? Because it's different in every stage of life. Maybe it's different for every person.
And I think that's where I'm passionate about blending self-care practices with mindfulness and yoga and meditation. I think when we start practicing yoga on a more regular basis, we inherently develop self-body awareness. We start to pay attention when something in the body feels tight, feels tension, feels painful, feel discomfort. The body is a constant organism giving us feedback for us to do something about it in early stages to avoid that become something bigger and out of hand. So body awareness can be achieved with the yoga practice, the asana practice, right? You go into your mat and you move the body and you start to realize, man, I'm a little bit sore here. I'm a little tight here. My flexibility is not as much. My strength needs to improve. That's body awareness. And the mindfulness aspect is, instead of judging yourself, instead of criticizing yourself for being X or Y, it's just observe it, accept it for what it is with self-compassion, and continue the process, because the body adjusts. The body is an amazing thing that we abuse all the time. So it takes time for us to learn how to take care of the body. Then we have the meditation aspect. The meditation aspect is a way for us to cultivate a little bit of stillness in our busy life or busy society, overstimulation society. It's a time for you to step back and be quiet and just be, right? I'm sure you have heard the expression, we went from humans being to human doing. We barely allow ourselves the opportunity to just be. We're always constantly pursuing something or trying to do or be something instead of appreciating everything that we are as we are right now, right? So those By practicing that mindfulness meditation, mindfulness yoga, you become aware of your needs. When you wake up in the morning, you feel your energy, you notice if your thoughts are going into high speed, and you're like, you know what, I need a little meditation to slow down. It's all about finding that balance that I was talking in the beginning. When you wake up in the morning, you realize, man, my shoulders are tight. I better do some stretches before I sit down all day in my office again because it's going to get worse. So those little feedback that the body give you, it will give you the tools for you to know exactly what kind of self-care you need to practice during that day. And that's what is always changing. So the more consistent you are, then it becomes an easy routine without too many ups and downs. And if it comes up and downs, then you know exactly what you did not pay attention on time and become a little bigger. So it's a fun game because it's always changing, like yoga practice.
Exactly. It's a journey on its own.
Yeah.
It's like a massive path of self-exploration continuously.
Yeah, exactly.
Really nice. So now we know what self-care is, how to understand what you need. What are maybe, if you've never done this before, you mentioned yoga, you mentioned meditation, what are maybe some practical things that we can try today, see if it works for us?
You know, they're very I think there are four things that you can practice. If you're not into yoga, if you're not into meditation yet, if it's calling your attention but you're not sure yet, there is definitely other ways of self-care. And so let's go from the beginning. Number one is notice how do you feel at this moment with no judgment. All right, so for example, I'm going to take a moment here, maybe 1 minute, where I'm going to just sit down with my eyes closed and just pay attention to my body. And if I feel that my body feels tight, I'm going to make the conscious decision to soften the muscles, right? So my shoulders are going to feel more relaxed, my neck is going to feel a little bit more relaxed. I'm going to pay attention to the quality of my breath. So if I feel like I'm breathing too short and too sharp and heavy, I'm just going to make the conscious decision to take a long, deep, long inhale through the nose and exhale, even through the mouth, to release all that energetic tension. So that already there is some sort of self-care. Another way that you can practice self-care is journaling. If you like to write, you can just grab a notebook and just start writing whatever comes to mind. Don't worry about grammar. Don't worry about sentence structure, punctuation. If you speak two languages or three languages like I do, my diary has, I start in Spanish and then I ended up in English and then I go back to Spanish. It really doesn't matter. Whatever comes to the mind. And what this does, it just helps your mind to release all that inner monologue that sometimes hovers you like a cloudy day, and just clear the energy in your body. So journaling, it is definitely a good attitude of gratitude. When you find yourself too negative, too pessimistic, too fearful, too that you just don't see hope, you literally can tap into gratitude. Believe me, you might feel a big shift in your perception of things. And you can start simple. You can say, I'm grateful for the clothes that are covering my body. I'm grateful for the air that I'm able to breathe through my nose. I'm grateful to have my eyes because I can see. Just very simple stuff. You're grateful for my bed that I can go and sleep and feel warm. I'm grateful for the roof and I have a house, or for the meals that I eat, for the water, clean water that I don't have to walk miles to get water for drink. It's just little things like that, and you will realize all the blessings that you actually have in your life right now. Because again, the mind gets in the future in pursuing of all this ideal lifestyle, and it creates a constant emptiness that I'm not enough, I'm not there yet, and when I get it, I will be happy. And that is a trap that we don't want to be on. So gratitude is a good way. And then the fourth one, which is my favorite, because it really helps you to restructure your subconscious of your self-limiting belief, and it's affirmations. Affirmations are so powerful. In the beginning, you might say, this sounds cheesy, there is no way I'm doing this. But when you listen and you create the habit, self-care practice, every morning when you wake up while brushing your teeth, you can plug in your headphones and play affirmations. How cool is you hear, I'm strong, I'm beautiful, I'm healthy, I'm successful, I'm lovable. I mean, if you listen that every day, all day, you are definitely going to start planting the seeds to really believe that you deserve to feel and be every positive thing that you're listening. And it really start eliminating self-doubt and anxiety, comparison, and feeling depressed. This is all doable, easy, free things to do that you can add into the day. Even when you're in a car driving or in the bus, you can apply that. But I know we're now in pandemic and some people are in lockdown, which is even better because then you can start listening to affirmation all day at home whenever you're not doing your work. And you can eventually create your own affirmations as you develop more mindfulness and tap more into how you're feeling, that constant feedback. For instance, if you're feeling down because you can't travel like you used to, you can create affirmations as, I'm going to travel. I'm a positive travel person, and you can say something like, my soul is seeking new experiences, and I'm going to seek them in every experience I have today. So, for instance, here we are right now connected. You are in Spain, I'm here in Florida. This is a sort of traveling. So I'm going to trick my mind that I'm traveling right now and we're having a nice cafe in Spain, and she can travel that she's here with me in Florida drinking pina coladas in the beach, It's all about tricking yourself to be more positive. Let me tell you something. The human brain is naturally negative. It's just the way it's wired. It's just how the neurons are wired. That's why we are so drawn into news, negativity, and gossipy and drama. It is natural. So self-care practices are hard because we are rewiring the brain. The neuroplasticity of the brain is changing. And so yoga, meditation, awareness, mindfulness is something that we are not born with, but you can learn with it, and then it becomes a second nature to you. That's why it's challenged. So keep that in mind when you feel like you are in the dark hole, so to speak. And then that's okay. Just self-compassion. Say, you know what? We're gonna go over the hump, and we're gonna start journaling. Why am I feeling frustrated? Or I'm gonna do an affirmation. I'm a loving person. I'm a loving person. I see love everywhere I go. It's just adopt the practice to you.
Exactly. I love that last fact. I think it's really important that we understand that this is a continuous practice. You have to do it all the time, and it will become part of you. It will become kind of a habit or routine. And that's something that we focused on a lot in January, because a lot of people are trying to imply new things to their routines and to their habits, or changing habits. And it takes, I think, from the research I did, 66 days to get used to. And that's why it's also very easy to give up on everything that you want to practice as self-care, because it takes time, guys. Time and effort. You have to make some kind of effort.
And that's what it's important to have a why. Why are you doing this? What is your intention? And there is nothing more simple than remind yourself that you deserve to feel your best, that you deserve to be happy, and that you deserve to feel balanced. And when you do that, you are tapping into the best version you can be, and be more creative and have more clear mindset for making decisions in your life, and just be from a place of appreciation for everything that is given, or anything that you are able to enjoy in life. It is definitely a lifestyle. It's definitely a lifestyle.
And I've got one question that came from students. What is the best time to practice these things? Very often we think we have to do it at one specific time, maybe the morning or just before bed. What would you recommend?
I think daily self-care practices are very personal. It's like asking what is the best time to practice yoga. It will depend on your routine and how you feel. I like to practice them throughout the day. So I do start my day with a meditation, and then I do gentle stretches, And then I do my affirmations as I prepare my bed and just brush my teeth and make my breakfast. And I have a really good breakfast. Having a healthy breakfast is also self-care.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, going to go to work, and then I have a nice lunch. And then drinking water during that time is also a self-care. You're keeping yourself hydrated, and that helps your skin and eliminates head tension, headache.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Maybe after lunch you can just maybe go for a walk and stretch your legs a little bit. That's a self-care routine. Or maybe you want to sit down and just do some pranayama breathing work for 2 minutes. That's self-care.
Mm-hmm.
um, Maybe doing an asana practice in the late afternoon, maybe like a 45-30 minute practice. That's also self-care.
Mm-hmm.
Having a routine to go to bed early, that's also a self-care. Having an alarm in your phone saying, hey, it's time to start shutting down, no more social media, that's self-care. Like, you can literally be practicing self-care all day, every day, but it doesn't have to feel like, oh, it's time for self-care. No, it's, right now I
Mm-hmm.
have a glass of water, I'm going to drink it, that's self-care. So it's those, that's what I say, it's little actions, but collectively and constantly, they are amazingly powerful.
Exactly. But being conscious about the way you treat yourself, your mind, and your body.
And how we talk to ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
that's the very first self-care that we need to
Mm-hmm.
become aware. The question I always ask and get people to think is, would you be your best friend if you knew how you treat yourself? Would you allow your best friend to treat you the way you treat yourself sometimes, right? Like,
Uh-huh.
oh, I feel like I'm not good enough. You will say, oh, don't say that. Of course you are. You're this, and you enhance certain qualities. But when you
Mm-hmm.
see yourself and you think, oh, I'm not good enough, what is it that you say to yourself? Yes, of course you're not. You're never gonna do that. You don't deserve that. Like, if somebody were to
Mm-hmm.
talk to you like that, you'll be like, oh. So be mindful of that and shift slowly that dialogue, because self-care is, in order to function, you need to first become your best friend. And that's a process. I
Mm-hmm.
know that for some people it's a process, and that's okay. Take all the time you need to become your best friend, and then your self-care practices are definitely going to start pay off.
Mm-hmm. Amazing. I think that's a really, really nice way to come to a conclusion of this chat. It's amazing. I think it's been really, really inspirational. Is there anything else that you would like to add, or maybe some events or classes that come up? Because I saw on your Instagram that you're now teaching online more. What's happening with that?
Well, I have a lot going on, guys. So, one, if you really want to get into these self-care practices, I'm giving free right now my self-care toolkit. So, if you go into my Instagram account or even in my website, there is a link that you just type your email and you will receive it directly in your inbox. It's 30-day challenge for self-care practices. I'm
Wow.
also doing live stream yoga classes. I have a live stream monthly meditation practice on my Facebook group for those who wants to dive deeper. So it's a 30-minute meditation that we do together once a month. And last but not least, I have a yoga and wellness retreat coming up in Costa Rica called Back to Self Through Mindfulness. So it's all the same things, and it's in a beautiful place that it's designed to reset yourself, to tap into your intuition and purpose in life, and move on with balance.
Mm-hmm. Amazing. I'm gonna check that out too. There's a lot more than I've seen already. That's amazing.
Thank you for having me. It's truly an honor for me to talk about this, because I think in today's day we need to take advantage of the last year experience that we all went through, and realize that in order to have a more sustainable, healthy, and happier life, sometimes it requires a little bit of self-responsibility, and doing these little acts of compassion and kindness towards yourself, it can make a big difference in your
Mm-hmm.
lifestyle.
Absolutely. Well, in return, I feel really honored to be able to speak to you live. It's been a great pleasure having you with us. Like I said, it's been really inspirational. I've learned a lot as well. and we're gonna check you out online. We're gonna try this challenge as well. I want to see this.
Please
I
do,
could do with.
and let me know how you feel, because like I said, you can adjust your self-care practice. So I'm always open to see what people can do with what I'm offering you. It's like a guidance, but you can.
Amazing. That's a good idea. All right. Thank you so much, Yely. I really liked speaking to you. It's been an honor.
Thank you, Annie. It's really a pleasure.
Thank you.
Glad to connect with you. I'm here for whatever you need.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Goodbye.
You listen to Your Yoga in English, brought to you by Enga Unite, a unique online learning platform for non-native English-speaking yogis and yoga teachers. If you feel inspired and liked what you learned today, don't forget to subscribe, leave us a review, and follow us at Enga Unite and become a member of our online community, Your Yoga in English, on Facebook. Practice, rest, repeat, and all will come.